shoot. Hey, Flo here. Found an interesting spot almost to the top of this smaller mountain here. This isn't the main destination, but a side trip. And I thought these shale or slate, or I don't know what these are, but these faceted stones are pretty cool. So I figured I'd do a reading here. If I can hopefully find a place to sit up here somewhere. Stuff is really cool looking up close. All right, this is good. Whew. So today's reading, or this reading, one of several today, is going to be Joshua 16 through 18 and Mark chapter 16. Oops. Probably have a bunch more names to try to pronounce. These are really difficult for me. But we'll get through it. Joshua chapter 16. The allotment for the Joshua chapter 16. The allotment for the descendants of Joseph extended from the Jordan at Jericho to the waters of Jericho on the east, through the wilderness that goes up from Jericho into the hill country of Bethel. It went on from Bethel, that is, Luz, and proceeded to the border of the Archites in Adaroth. Then it descended westward to the border of the Japhlethites. Then it descended westward to the border of the Japhlethites, as far as the border of lower Beth Horon and on to Gezer, and it ended at the sea. So Ephraim and Manasseh, the sons of Joseph, received their inheritance. This was the territory of the descendants of Ephraim by their clans. The border of their inheritance went from Adaroth Adar in the east to upper Beth Horon and out toward the sea. From Mikmethath on the north, it turned eastward toward Tanath Shiloh and passed by it to Genoa on the east. From Genoa it went down to Adaroth and Nerah, and then reached Jericho and came out at the Jordan. From Tappuah the border went westward to the brook of Cana and ended at the sea. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Ephraim, along with all the cities and villages set apart for the descendants of Ephraim within the inheritance of Manasseh. But they did not drive out the Canaanites who lived in Gezer. So the Canaanites dwell among the Ephraimites to this day, but they are forced laborers. Joshua chapter 17. They approached Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the leaders, and said, "The Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brothers." So Joshua gave them an inheritance among their father's brothers, in keeping with the command of the Lord. Thus 10 shares fell to Manasseh, in addition to the land of Gilead and Bashan beyond the Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh received an inheritance among his sons, and the land of Gilead belonged to the rest of the sons of Manasseh. Now the border of Manasseh went from Asher to Michmethath near Shechem, then southward to include the inhabitants of En-Tappuah. The region of Tappuah belonged to Manasseh, but Tappuah itself on the border of Manasseh belonged to Ephraim. From there the border continued southward to the brook of Cana. There were cities belonging to Ephraim among the cities of Manasseh, but the border of Manasseh was on the north side of the brook and ended at the sea. Ephraim's territory was to the south, and Manasseh's was to the north, having the sea as its border, and adjoining Asher on the north, and Issachar on the west. Having the sea as its border, and adjoining Asher on the north, and Issachar on the east. Within Issachar and Asher, Manasseh was assigned Beth-shean, Ibleam, Dor, that is, Nephath, Endor, Tanakh, and Megiddo, each with their surrounding settlements. But the descendants of Manasseh were unable to occupy these cities, because the Canaanites were determined to stay in this land. However, when the Israelites grew stronger, they put the Canaanites to forced labor, but they failed to drive them out completely. Then the sons of Joseph said to Joshua, "Why have you given us only one portion as an inheritance? We have many people, because the Lord has blessed us abundantly." Joshua answered them, "If you have so many people that the hill country of Ephraim is too small for you, go to the forest and clear for yourself an area in the land of the Perizzites and the Rephaim." "The hill country is not enough for us," they replied, "and all the Canaanites who live in the valley have iron chariots, both in Beth-shean with its towns and in the valley of Jezreel." So Joshua said to the house of Joseph, to Ephraim and Manasseh, "You have many people and great strength. You shall not have just one allotment, because the hill country will be yours as well. It is a forest. Clear it, and its farthest limits will be yours. Although the Canaanites have iron chariots, and although they are strong, you can drive them out." Joshua chapter 18. Then the whole congregation of Israel assembled at Shiloh and set up the tent of meeting there. And though the land was subdued before them, there were still 7 tribes of Israel who had not yet received their inheritance. So Joshua said to the Israelites, "How long will you put off entering and possessing the land that the Lord, the God of your fathers, has given you? Appoint 3 men from each tribe, and I will send them out to survey the land and map it out, according to the inheritance of each. Then they will return to me and divide the land into 7 portions. Judah shall remain in their territory to the south, and the house of Joseph shall remain in their territory in the north. When you have mapped out the 7 portions of land and brought it to me, I will cast lots for you here in the presence of the Lord our God. The Levites, however, have no portion among you, because their inheritance is the priesthood of the Lord. And Gad, Reuben, and the half-tribe of Manasseh have already received the inheritance that Moses, the servant of the Lord, gave them beyond the Jordan to the east." As the men got up to go out, Joshua commanded them to map out the land, saying, "Go and survey the land, map it out, and return to me. Then I will cast lots for you here in Shiloh in the presence of the Lord." So the men departed and went throughout the land, mapping it city by city into 7 portions. Then they returned with the document to Joshua at the camp in Shiloh. And Joshua cast lots for them in the presence of the Lord at Shiloh, where he distributed the land to the Israelites according to their divisions. The first lot came up for the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. Their allotted territory lay between the tribes of Judah and Joseph. On the north side their border began at the Jordan, went up past the northern slope of Jericho, headed west through the hill country, and came out at the wilderness of Beth-aven. From there the border crossed over to the southern slope of Luz, that is Bethel, and went down to Adaroth Adar on the hill south of Lower Beth-horon. On the west side the border curved southward from the hill facing Beth-horon on the south, and came out at Kiriath Baal, that is Kiriath Jearim, a city of the sons of Judah. This was the western side. On the south side the border began at the outskirts of Kiriath Jearim, and extended westward to the spring at the waters of Nephtoah. Then it went down to the foot of the hill that faces the valley of Hinnom, at the northern end of the valley of Rephaim, and ran down the valley of Hinnom toward the southern slope of the Jebusites and downward to En-rogel. From there it curved northward and proceeded to En-shemesh, and on to Geliloth, facing the ascent of Adumim, and continued down to the stone of Bohan, son of Reuben. Then it went on to the northern slope of Beth-arabah, and went down into the valley. The border continued to the northern slope of Beth-hoglah, and came out at the northern bay of the Salt Sea, at the mouth of the Jordan. This was the southern border. On the east side the border was the Jordan. These were the borders around the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. These were the cities of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin: Jericho, Beth-hoglah, Emek Keziz, Beth-arabah, Zemaraim, Bethel, Avim, Para, Ophrah, Chephar Ammoni, Ophni, and Geba, 12 cities along with their villages. Gibeon, Ramah, Beeroth, Mizpah, Chephirah, Moza, Rechem, Irpeel, Taralah, Zelah, Haleph, Jebus, that is Jerusalem, Gibeah, and Kiriath Jearim, 14 cities along with their villages. This was the inheritance of the clans of the tribe of Benjamin. I don't remember, it's been a while since I've read this, but I don't know if other translations of the Bible list these cities differently, but it's weird in the Berean Standard Bible because it lists a bunch of cities, gives a number of how many there were in that list, but then it just lists more. It doesn't it's kind of confusing as to why there's multiple lists instead of just all in one list or whatever, but I don't remember how it reads in other translations, but I'm just reading it as it is, but I'm having a hard time comprehending the divisions of the lists, and reading the names because they're super hard to read. Mark chapter 16. When the Sabbath was over, Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James, and Salome bought spices so they could go and anoint the body of Jesus. Very early on the first day of the week, just after sunrise, they went to the tomb. They were asking one another, "Who will roll away the stone from the entrance of the tomb?" But when they looked up, they saw that the stone had been rolled away, even though it was extremely large. When they entered the tomb, they saw a young man dressed in a white robe sitting on the right side, and they were alarmed. But he said to them, "Do not be alarmed. You are looking for Jesus the Nazarene, who was crucified. He has risen. He is not here. See the place where they put him. But go, tell his disciples and Peter, He is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him, just as he told you." So the women left the tomb and ran away, trembling and bewildered. And in their fear they did not say a word to anyone. Early on the first day of the week, after Jesus had risen, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, from whom he had driven out 7 demons. She went and told those who had been with him, who were mourning and weeping. And when they heard that Jesus was alive, and she had seen him, they did not believe it. After this, Jesus appeared in a different form to 2 of them as they walked along in the country. And they went back and reported it to the rest, but they did not believe them either. Later, as they were eating, Jesus appeared to the 11 and rebuked them for their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they did not believe those who had seen him after he had risen. And he said to them, "Go into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. Whoever believes and is baptized will be saved, but whoever does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will accompany those who believe. In my name they will drive out demons, they will speak in new tongues, they will pick up snakes with their hands, and if they drink any deadly poison, it will not harm them. They will lay their hands on the sick, and they will be made well." After the Lord Jesus had spoken to them, he was taken up into heaven and sat down at the right hand of God. And they went out and preached everywhere, and the Lord worked through them, confirming his word by the signs that accompanied it. All right. I need to get going because I'm doing a lot of these readings and moving pretty slow. I'm nowhere near my final destination for the day, and I really would like to reach it, so I might not do any more readings for a while as I try to get up the mountain, but we'll see. If I see something cool like this that I can't resist, then I might do another one on the way up, and I'll almost certainly do some readings at the top, 'cause I'm sure it will be cool up there, although unfortunately, because of the wildfire smoke that's around, it's not going to be a very great view, and I won't even really know what I'm missing exactly because I've not been to this place before. Alright, but that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks for joining me again.